Hit play. Go on with your introduction. You got it.
What's up, Slingin Dirt Media fans? Thanks for tuning in to the YouTube channel here. I'm sitting in the shop, Lightning Shop, with Hollywood Brian Gray.
And he messed it up again.
I'm always going to mess it up.
That's okay. I used to mess it up every week. Every week.
Yeah. If it's got a steering wheel, I promise I can mess it up.
Oh, dude, no. I'm like, I should have won the last 8 races I ran.
I'm not
kidding.
You've been having some bad luck this year.
It's stupid stuff. It's like dumb crap. Leaving oil lines loose, breaking a fitting, break a rod end,
right?
Bend a control arm.
All the goofy stuff.
Yeah, over and over. But I mean, it's okay. I've had a blast, dude. Because I mean, if it would be a lot more fun to win.
Sure.
But showing up and doing well, like that's huge too. You know, that's always fun.
I always felt like anytime you're moving forward, that's fun.
Yeah, if you're passing people,
you're having fun.
And staying out of wrecks. Sometimes avoiding wrecks is pretty fun too.
That is.
Yeah.
I remember a certain young man. He spun out in front of me one time, and I was like, man, I never was so relieved to not hit that guy when he spun out in front of me. Now the guy's winning Lucas Oil races.
Who's that?
It's a certain number 11.
Come on, tell me.
Josh Rice.
Yeah. Josh Rice, that's kind of his role, dude. Like, man, especially at Florence.
Yeah.
I think they even say that's the Josh Rice line. Like, it's named after him.
It's up there. It's
right.
up there.
Yes, you're over the. So what was that dude, Ethan Dotson?
Yeah,
he was pulling the Josh Rice at Florence.
He was flirting with the Josh Rice line.
Flirting.
He was flirting.
But I thought he was up on the wall when he came
at the flag stand. Yeah,
at the flag. So he was in the Josh Rice spot at the flag stand.
See, you can't talk either.
I told you that was good. It was fine. You were doing okay, but you were just trying so hard.
You'll have that.
Yep.
So what else is new?
The same old stuff. We race and trying to take care of kids and keep the wife happy and mowing grass and moving equipment,
moving shops.
Oh my God, dude, it's an unbelievable amount of work but everybody's working through it and doing well at it.
Did I hear something about it? 30 years of accumulation somewhere that's going to be moved?
Yeah, so Dave when he bought Lightning, they've been in this building here for over 2 years.
Okay.
So, I mean, just being in business for 2 years in one place, that's one thing. And he's been through this before, but I think that Lightning chassis in itself, just in the 2 years that I've been hanging out here, has grown a tremendous amount. Not only, with the equipment and stuff that they've brought in, but it's just being in business. And you accumulate
business
stuff.
Growth.
So the place that they're moving Lightning chassis to was formerly a truck shop.
Okay.
And the guy been in business there for over 30 years.
Right.
And you can imagine 30 years of being in business in a truck shop.
That's a lot.
You kind of you might accumulate some stuff.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So it's been a working process, but I mean it's gonna be nice. And plus we get to move everything in the way that we want it because we've
set it up how you guys want it.
Yeah, 2 years worth of work and you kind of figure out where you're going with equipment. Plus we've added so much stuff. I mean, just adding the CNC part to the business, that's gonna be a huge part as well. So that's like another element that you have to work through.
Interesting. So let's back up just a little bit in your career.
Okay.
When did you and how did you get started in racing?
Oh, God. So I drove my first race car at Queen City Speedway when I was 11 years old.
Holy cow.
I raced my grandfather had me racing go-karts before that.
Okay.
But my grandfather, H.D. Lawson, he was a late model guy from way back in I don't even know when he started racing, but long story short, he drove for Harold Hargrove in Kentucky. So Brandon Hargrove's dad used to have a car, I guess, way back when. And he drove for him. My mom ran some of my grandfather's cars, and when I came along, I guess my grandfather never had a son, and lo and behold, guess what?
You're on your way.
As long as I'm not scared of it, he would let me run it.
So what was this first car like?
It was a sprint car that a guy from the neighborhood that we lived in. He had a sprint car, and I guess he thought we were doing well in the go karts. He was like, "Hey, let's go get him in this."
Let's test the waters.
Yeah, let's go see how it goes. So we ran, like 5 races that season. I was 11.
11.
And nobody knew I was 11 until till I had a pretty nasty wreck at IRP, and then everybody knew I was 11.
Then they knew you was 11. Oh, okay. The truth comes out.
Yeah, the truth comes out, and it was kind of a little bit of a mess, but it was 30 years ago.
I was playing with go-karts at 11, but nowhere near throwing me in a car or nothing like that.
So, I mean, that's where it all started. My grandfather, he built cars. They used to go to Daytona every year.
Right.
He worked with Mark Dismore on his IndyCar team.
Really?
And his main business, the main job that he did, he was an engineer, and he developed brakes for airplanes.
Really?
So tell me that's not an odd brakes for airplanes.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I know some guys that are pretty successful in racing, and they hang around airplanes a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if you guys down in Tennessee.
Oh.
They have a lot to do with airplanes. And
Dude, I just seen an alien.
The aliens have landed. I swear.
Dude, did you watch that? Did you watch the video where he was talking about it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
The road to Eldora.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great.
Those were great.
Yeah. I've watched it probably a few times. Those guys do great work.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe someday I might be close to that level.
No, you can be on that level. Look,
someday.
We've got the internet now. All you have to do is be optimistic.
We got internets. We can do it.
You've got the internet. Have the drive and just do the work.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
We start
anymore.
getting some fan base. Everybody go like Slingin Dart Media YouTube channel, like and subscribe and tell all your friends, and we'll get there.
LightningChassis.com.
LightningChassis.com. We'll get there. I hear a fan club over there. Yeah. Something like that. So when did you start getting into dirt? So you drove that sprint car, Queen City. When did you start doing my own thing? And
16.
Okay.
We bought a modified from Al Glick's dad.
Okay.
Over towards Lawrenceburg.
Yep. Cleves area there.
Yep.
I knew
Cleves
Al.
area. It was a 5th design Hal late model that they turned into a modified, and I'm not sure who it was that drove that car, but fortunate enough.
Was it one of Al's old cars, or do they?
No, I'm pretty sure that it was his dad's.
Okay.
Or maybe his uncle, something. I can't remember. I used to know the guy's name, but that was, time goes by.
I'll have to give Al a call and have a conversation.
Ask Al. Yeah. Can't remember the dude's name, but bought his car. We knew it was a 5th design Hal car.
Right.
Started running my first dirt race at Whitewater, Union County.
Yeah.
So went there, raced Whitewater and Lawrenceburg, like for pretty much a full season there. Go through the motions, get a little bit better over time.
Seat time, making laps, getting more seat time.
Ran into Don Adams. Got the first new car that I got was a Lightning car back in not in the 90s.
Okay.
It was in the 90s.
Yeah.
It was a Ford, and I thought it was a Gran Torino, and we always put Gran Torino parts on it.
Right.
But Don later tells me it wasn't a Gran Torino.
Hey, we may have solved the problem. It was
but it was okay. I won some races in it, and I raced it. I even raced that car at Killcare at Winchester,
Really?
Winchester, Indiana, on the big high banks. We ran asphalt races with it.
So did you have to make a lot of changes to get from dirt to asphalt?
I didn't even know what to change.
Yeah.
You put different tires on it,
Right,
but as far as like changing shocks and doing this and that, we did.
Gears and tires.
Yeah, I mean the cars. It was a monoleaf car.
Oh, okay.
So monoleaf springs with a Ford front end, and you change tires.
Yeah.
And as long as you were passing cars,
Who cares?
like we were were we talking about that on camera?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
As long as you were passing cars, it didn't matter where you finished.
Right.
You just start on the tail and finish by passing a couple guys. It was like, we were fast that night.
I remember some of my first days in the old super dirt class that I was in, and it was like, I was nowhere near the front, but hey, if I was door to door and passing somebody, Hey man, I was having fun, and that's all I was there for, was just have fun, not tear stuff up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's all you can really ask for, as long as you're having fun doing it. And that takes me,
Yeah.
goes through many episodes of this evolution
Yeah.
with myself. Yeah.
So eventually, you did modified long enough. You decided, let's try a late model.
Yeah, we raced modifieds for a number of years, and kind of got to the point where it's like, man, we were spending tons of money.
Sure.
So I'm like, I'm spending a bunch of money to go win $200. I might as well build a late model. But I didn't get my late model until later, and this is probably a pretty decent story. Do you remember when Kimmel did the Stock Car Nationals race at Kentucky Speedway?
Yes.
So we built a stock car just to go run, that super
race.
speedway race. Did that, ran that show, had it an up and down whole. I mean, it was a mess. We made practice and trashed an engine in practice at Kentucky Speedway.
Right.
But we built 2 cars to go there and ran the race. And it kind of was starting to take off, like they were going to run Bristol and The Rock. And a friend of mine, Donnie Jeske, he wanted to run. He wanted to run the whole thing.
Right.
And I really thought it was going to be a good deal, and he thought it would be. And I built a really nice car.
Right.
I mean, really nice car. So Donnie traded me straight up his Warrior late model.
Okay.
Mike Knuckles.
Yeah.
That's when Sanford had Warrior.
Yeah.
And he traded me straight up his turnkey Warrior late model for my Kimmel stock car, which was not a look. These were cup cars
Sure.
with steel heads on them,
Right.
which I think at one time steel heads were the mandatory thing in cup racing, right?
Yep.
So
So they say.
yeah, that made the transition for me from modifieds to late models.
Okay.
Yeah.
Warrior car, yeah. Sandy Goddard was building those. Gosh, I remember he was building those, and then they were actually building like a Warrior or a Rayburn direct car. So they had a Rayburn jig there building. They called them Rayburn Directs.
Okay.
So they weren't directly from Rayburn; they were directly from Warrior, but it was a Rayburn car.
So they were just copying Rayburn.
Yeah, but it had the Rayburn name. So he had a deal worked out.
Oh,
with
okay, I
Rayburn.
got
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
So he
yeah.
was kind of like
He was
manufacturing.
a Warrior. Built their Warrior cars, but then he was a dealer for Rayburn, and they built Rayburn cars too.
Well, I didn't know that. That's pretty
Gary
cool.
Engel had one. I mean, I used to help Gary Engel
Right.
100 years ago. It seems like 100 years ago. And Gary had a Rayburn direct car, and then I think had that like a year or two, and then he switched, and then he got a Warrior car and tried it, and like Rayburn said, they always come back.
They always come back. I mean, that thing wasn't bad. I raced that car for 3 solid years, and I mean, I wrecked the crap out of it, man. I mean, first night I ran it, never forget it. I mean, literally, this is the first time on the track. Went to Florence Speedway, and I was like, man, this thing's got big ass tires on it.
Yeah,
and,
I don't know what I'm
and
gonna do
brakes,
with those.
and I hot lapped the car, and I was like, damn. It takes off.
Yeah.
And I hit the brakes and it slows down. I'm like, well, this is different, right?
Right.
Yeah, I thought I could just run it wide ass open into the corner, and you can't do that.
It didn't work?
No, it didn't work out. So I knocked the front
theory
end
was
off of
there,
it.
but it just
Hey, I was watching everybody else look like they were just running wide open through there. So I figured I might as well go ahead and
was
do
there
it
some
too.
like Josh Rice type styles back then?
Oh
too?
no, I hit it with the front end.
You hit it with the front end.
Yeah,
You just drove at the extrude,
I
didn't
just
it?
drove it right in there and hit it with the front end. So that was my first
that's
lesson.
different. Most people don't hit it with the front end.
No, you learn real fast. Hit it with the back end.
There was gosh, I wish I could remember. It's a funny story. I wish I could remember who was telling it to me, but so one of the chassis builders or whatever had a customer who was like, man, he really didn't know what he was doing. And he's like, well, I don't know how to tell you. Is it pushing? Is it too loose or whatever it is? He goes, well, I don't know the term, so I don't know what to tell you. He says, all right. He said, well, this week when you go to the track, just drive it straight in the corner as hard as you can. Then Monday, call me and tell me which part of the car, which part of the car hits the wall. Did the front end hit or did the back end hit?
Somebody really said that?
Somebody, I swear to God, really said. Then I'll know what to tell you to do. Is it two
That sounds
tires
like
and
a
two
marketing
wheels?
plan. Right?
Yeah, I swear.
I can't
True
tell.
story. I just can't remember who said that, but
Which end hit first?
which end hit first, the front or the back? It was either too tight or
That's what I'm saying. Which end did hit first?
On whose
Did he
car?
finish that part?
Oh, I don't know.
He didn't tell you.
He
if it hit
didn't
with
tell
the-
me that part.
I was kind of curious which one happened. Right?
Yeah, I didn't get that part of the story.
No, you should have asked him. Next time you see him, make
Yeah, I
sure.
don't
Hey,
even
you remember
who
that
was.
story?
Remember that story? Whoever that was.
Yeah, tell me what was the end result there?
Yeah.
You know, we won't
Tore up race car. I'm gonna guess.
guarantee that. I promise you, it was tore up.
So you've
Yeah.
been tearing, like you said, you just had some dumb bad luck this year, tearing stuff up.
Well, tearing up things that should never happen.
Right.
You know, but it all boils down to not doing the work that I need to do. You know, I run a business full time, doing auto glass work. I just recently in the last year have kind of finalized shutting down the shock part because I've started helping out Dave and.
So you're not doing shocks anymore.
Well, yes, I am doing shocks, but it's not
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 like
a
you
priority.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll help some guys out when they need help and that kind of thing, and I still answer the phone when anybody calls and if they need service. But I'm not actively like seeking
pursuing
business.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's something that you really have to dedicate more time to. So instead of putting my energy there, I'm trying to put it more into the racing part.
Right.
And that's really what it boils down to, is not being able to devote enough time into my racing program per se, just because I'm spreading myself out. And it's stupid things that happen.
And that's
this
what causes the little stupid things to happen.
Again, we talked about this earlier. You know, once you get to where you are where you're racing and you're running, you know, in the top 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
If you can make it into the top 7 or 8, and you've heard this a million times, it's that little bit that pushes you over the clip. And it's not so much being able to be that much faster on from a driver standpoint or having the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that. It's when people say you need to go back to work, it's making sure that none of that dumb shit happens, right?
Right.
And
there's a big difference between finishing in that top 10 and loading it up on a trailer early.
Right. And you don't necessarily have to wreck. It can be it's things that are stupid that happen. You break a rear end gear. Like, I mean, who would ever thought of that? Well, you know, if you've been paying attention to how many times you ran that set of quick change gears, you would know that's about time to throw them out the window.
I've seen all kinds of little stupid stuff that'll end the guy for the night, and it's just as simple as maybe he didn't click the steering wheel all the way on. And then in hot laps or heat race, steering wheel comes off and just do enough damage that, well, we can't fix that here. So guess what? Now we're done.
And everyone has done that.
Just about.
They have done that. I mean, I can recall knocking the microphone off of the stand.
I can recall. I did it 5 minutes ago.
Being at Eldora, starting the race and pulling the steering wheel off, and I swear, dude, this was like the most thank God moment in my life. Is that when I pushed it forward, it clicked right back into place, and I was like, how many people have that happened to?
A few.
Yes. Yeah, and they've usually probably ended up, you know,
tore up.
Right back at the chassis shop.
Or right back chassis shop, or here or somewhere.
Yeah.
So you guys are moving shop. That's you're exciting. You guys are looking forward to that.
It's very exciting, you know, and it's a big it's a big deal because we've been working in this building here, which is, I don't know, this is a huge place. I mean, you've seen back through there, but just knowing that, you know, we're moving to our own. It's going to be our new home. Yeah.
And that's a serious direction to head to. Like, man, now we can get back and focus.
Well, that's a serious investment too.
Sure.
So, you know, I've been accustomed to the rumor mill for years. You know what I mean? I used to start the frickin' rumor mill. I really visualized myself as a, you know, kind of almost a master of, you know, creating the disasters around you.
So here's what I want to know. Here's a serious question. Do you stir that counterclockwise or clockwise when you're stirring the pot?
Dude, I actually, on my CNC machine,
Yeah.
I made this thing that mixes it.
It mixes the pot for you.
Like I tell you what, there's a best performance
Yeah.
That's their business. They make mixers. Did you know
okay.
that?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I want to say that I was part of that.
Nice.
I wasn't, but I just
Yeah, I like
I
to
said
say
I
that.
want to. I'd like to say that I was, part of giving them the
Right.
idea on how to mix stuff up.
Gotcha. I've heard Brian Gary can mix and stir some stuff up.
You probably see me get my ass whooped a few times over it too.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
No, that was a whole nother era. It was fun.
Yeah.
We had a blast, but like I was saying, back to the rumor part,
Yeah.
a lot of people say, well, these guys aren't going to be here.
Right.
Trust me, you don't put in this kind of effort
Sure.
to not be here.
Yeah.
And we've been here this long, so I do want to put that out there.
Yeah.
And
So
we're doing great.
you're happy. Your car, when stupid stuff isn't happening, you're happy with your car. I've seen you
Dude,
turn
did you
laps
not
this
see
year.
the last race we ran at Eldora?
I did not.
Oh my God.
I haven't made it to Eldora yet.
Here,
this
I'll just
year.
give you the breakdown. All right. Rough and fast. If you look at the lap times,
yeah,
I don't care.
this
was
the
fast. Johnny Appleseed.
Yeah.
Right?
I did I seen some of that race. On
Started
TV.
in the back. We had I was telling you earlier, I practiced that car one night.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Moeller's one weekend, which I broke a left rear shock in the heat race.
Right.
Me and Brian Barber had a little bit of a hiccup, and I broke a shock. Started in the back, and then I couldn't fix that shock,
Right.
so I had to run without a left rear shock, and did pretty well. I mean, even though like the showing wasn't good,
Yeah.
I think I finished 8th, but I finished the race
Yeah.
with no left rear shock.
Okay.
Took that car to Eldora for the Johnny Appleseed, had an issue with, it was something with steering, new car, like bolts coming loose.
Man,
Right?
But for the record, with that track, I don't know how you would not have steering problems with that track, as rough as it was. And I'm not putting the place
Dude,
down,
I
but
can
man,
tell you.
that place was rough. People still talk about how bad and how rough that place was.
Yeah, well, this is what I contributed to. Don really looked up to CJ Rayburn, right? What was CJ? What's the motto of the Rayburn race car?
Stronger than dirt.
That's right.
Yeah.
So when you are that guy who's
Yeah.
looking up to that guy,
Yeah.
you kind of
Yeah.
you kind of figure it out over time, right?
Right.
And that I like to think that Don is passing all that information on to us, and which he has over time. But anyway, back to the Eldora race. Track was rough, and I had a little trouble in the heat race. I had to run the B main, yes. So I had to run the B. I won the B,
Okay.
and I mean dominating fashion. I don't care. I'm just telling you, that car is fast.
You just laid a Scott Bloomquist butt whipping on.
Yeah, but see, I won the B, and that's winning
Wins a
the B.
win.
So you know what that
Wins
means?
a win.
I start in the tail, but
Right.
I start on the tail, but it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I came from the tail all the way to the front, 2 second, and I'm telling you, I was plotting my pass. I mean, and I had a line figured out, and then it all just went to my head, and I did some stupid shit and drove through and I mean, it wasn't a little rut, dude. I mean, it was nasty. It was a gnarly jump. Somebody sent me a clip of it.
Yeah.
And if that car wasn't 4 foot off the ground, it wouldn't too. All right.
So you were flying at low altitude.
Literally flying at low altitude, trying to pick my spot to pass. And Dylan Woodling ended up winning. I broke.
Yeah.
And it's stuff like that. But I didn't really. It broke an oil line. Well, I mean, I couldn't just keep going because I had already done that.
Yeah.
Weeks before.
That's serious stuff. That's gonna shut you down.
Kind of had to. I was like, you know what? And I really didn't want to. When I seen that light come on, I was like, oh, I wanted to pull my freaking helmet off. But
Right.
that cars are good.
Well,
The cars are real good.
It sounds like even though through all the dumb stuff that you're still having fun.
Oh, I'm having a blast. That's what I'm saying. I haven't finished the last 8 races
awesome.
that I ran, and I couldn't be more happier.
Yeah,
It's
I've never heard of somebody to have such bad luck and all that and be so happy about it.
well, when you struggle for so long,
Yeah.
it's huge. And then you have to figure out, back to running the late models. I had to figure out what I was doing. I wasn't having fun doing that anymore.
No.
It's too competitive, and I don't even want to say it's money. It was competitive. You need money to continue to be competitive, and it wasn't that we were slow. It was never slow. I was always within range. I mean, hell, the one year I qualified 18th at the North South, in front of Shane Clanton and a number of people with a steel block. So we weren't slow. It's just, again, it's getting over that cliff. You know, you have to. It's that little bit, and we just didn't have the energy to keep going with it.
To get you over that little hump.
But modifieds are fun, dude. Yeah. I mean.
Oh yeah.
Modifieds are fun.
I've probably had more fun in a modified than probably anything. I've driven a few other things that were fun, but I don't know that they were quite a modified. You know, I've got behind a Legend car, and man, those little things are wicked. Fun.
Those things seem like they'd be sketchy. I've never done that, but
a little. But I mean,
Duder said he would help me out getting one.
Yeah, he told me that too.
Did you go and take him up on it?
I did.
Well, all right, so explain.
Okay, so I tested in his car, Frankenstein.
Okay.
We went out to Moeller's and
Duder's fast.
Duder's fast. Duder wins races, and this is the whole thing he was selling me on, and I was contemplating maybe getting one. He said, man, I have left my car in the trailer for 3 weeks at a time because of work or whatever, not be able to go races. He said, I'll just roll up to the track from the last time I went to the track, unload it, wipe the dust off of it, put gas in it, and go racing. He said, they don't take all the work.
You know who used to tell me that?
Who?
Larry Moreland.
Really?
Yeah, he would say he parks a car in the trailer all winter.
I can believe this.
And then
I believe that.
And I was like, dude, you don't park the car in the trailer. I was like, you're really telling me that it just sits there all winter and then you can come pull it out of there and go and win?
Back then, probably. Nowadays, not so much.
Yeah.
So that was what Duder said. So this was a Saturday. So they raced at Moeller Friday night. The very next day, we went to Moeller, got some lap time, and we played a little bit. He wanted to test some tires, and he did that. And then he put me in it, and I ran it a few different times and felt good. Felt comfortable. And he said, man, times are good. He says, you got this. I'm like, okay. I didn't want to just show up and compete one night, never being in the car, not know how it operates, how it shifts or anything. So I wanted to at least drive it around.
Learn a little bit.
So did that. Everything was good. He said, all right, in 2 weeks, he said, we'll go racing. All right, cool. So we were supposed to go to Circle City the Sunday, the day after the North-South. This was last year. And then I was like, man, I'm going to be killed after working the North-South all week and then go up there and race. Something happened. I think it was weather. I think they rained out, so they didn't run it. So like 2 weeks later, he says, we're going to race at Moeller this night. I'm like, all right. He's like, I'm going to race my car. He said, but I've got you another ride. He said, I'm bringing a car for you. I said, okay, whatever. Sounds good. So I got in and hot lapped it, and it was obviously felt a little bit different. It probably didn't have his setup. So it was a little bit different, but I made it through hot laps. Okay. Go out and take the green flag in the heat race, and probably first or second lap, I don't remember, but it wasn't long. Coming off of turn 2, down the backstretch, all of a sudden that thing just went right to the wall. I mean, it was everything I could do to keep from hitting it, just T-boning, just head on, fighting it. And then I hit the wall, and I seen the tire go and bounce down the track, and I'm like, what the heck just happened? So they tried to fix it and everything, but he later found out that the tie rod, the heim joint, was only like a thread and a half in the tube.
So, kids, this is the part where we say,
make sure your heim joints are all the way in.
You are checking all of your bolts every week, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I felt horrible. I was like, man, I just tore up somebody's car. I don't even know. They didn't show up. The dude just went and picked the car up and brought me a car to race, and this is what happened. I'm like, man. He's like, don't worry about it. I'll fix it. And I'm like, all right.
Dude, let me tell you, I'm that guy obviously either A, knows how to set up a car, or B, he knows how to drive his ass off.
A little both. I'm going to say both.
And he probably knows a little bit of both. But I'm telling you one thing right now. He brought me shocks once. He's like, hey, man, look. Brings me this stack of shocks. I'm like, what is this? I was like, where have these things been at?
On my race car.
Well, you know, I've been running these. I'm like, you have not been running these. Oh, yeah, I've been running them.
I've been winning with them, too.
Yeah. So I'm like, they look like somebody dropped them in the bottom of the lake and left them there.
Yeah.
Remember how they used to talk about, hey,
Yeah.
I buried that engine block out there in the field. It's a seasoned block. Yeah, these were seasoned shocks, let me tell you. I was like, from that point on, I was like, this dude either is a one hell of a wheelman or there's something going on there.
I think it's both. I think
Yes.
I think he's adjusted to, and he knows what he likes.
And he's laughing when he's watching this right now. I guarantee you, he's
gonna be
eating it up.
Yeah.
I love that dude.
He's awesome. Well, Brian, before we wrap things up, here's your opportunity. Who do you got to thank for putting you where you are?
Well, number one, I thank God for blessing me with everything that I've went through. But the guys at K&M have helped me out for a lot of years. They taught me that if I was going to get anywhere doing this, I had to work for myself. That was the number one thing. And my wife for putting up with my crap all the time.
All of our wives.
Does anybody have any idea what kind of stress this puts on a marriage? And I've been married for 23 years.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But I mean, I've had so many people along the way.
Yeah.
My grandfather and John Weber and the people at Burt and just so many. I know the guys, the guys at JD at AFCO.
Mm-hmm.
He helped me along the way with the shock stuff, got me going in that. But my business, Auto Glass Resources. This is our marketing right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we put our marketing money into.
Right.
And then Don and Dave at Lightning Chassis, especially Dave. The first time I ever met Dave.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't know me from anybody off the street. I came in here. I was like, hey man, I really need a new car. I was like, but I can't just buy a car from you and pay you for it right up front.
Right.
I was like, do you think we could work something out? And it was like, no problem, dude. And they invited me in, and
yeah. Now you're a member of the family.
Dude, once we got going, he gave me a place to work on my car for the last 2 years.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
And just being around these guys and meeting all the new people.
Yeah.
Because I've been out of modified racing for a long time and running late models. It's been really good.
Good deal.
Had a good time.
Awesome.
So hold on, you didn't tell me what made you want to start this crap.
Oh, maybe we want to start this crap. You know what?
I say that because I got last story. my buddy Gary Major.
Okay.
When we were working on race cars all the time,
Yeah.
he was like, "What's this junk?" And I'm like, "That's not junk." He's like, "Oh no, that's just me talking."
Yeah.
If it's race car stuff, it's junk.
It's junk. Yeah, I'm racing junk.
Yeah. So now this is radio show crap, but you're doing video.
Video. Yeah. So I had the idea about a year or so ago. It's like, I really feel like there's like no big time documentary done on the sport of dirt racing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm I've said it before, I'm a kind of a history nerd, and I love the old stuff. Well, I'm huge into racing, and it's like, well, I want to know where it came from, how we got through the decades of the 60s, the 70s, and, I've been around since the late 70s and 80s and seen some great racing, but there's also some great history and stories with some of the people there.
Right.
The characters, your Jack Boggs, your CJ Rayburns, these are stories that are connected with these guys that if somebody doesn't record this stuff, eventually it's lost. We've got newcomers, new kids, younger people coming into the sport that have never heard of people like that. And it's like, man, if we don't find a way to share stories and, document it somehow, and I'm not saying that this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it's a start. It's what I can do.
If that's what motivates you, that's what you need.
This is what motivates me. Is I want to, right now I'm locally based, and we want to just hit everybody in and around Cincinnati that races.
Well, dude, a lot of people don't know the history of this area. Right?
I know. You know what? 90% of our population in Cincinnati don't even realize that there is 3 racetracks within a 40-minute drive of downtown Cincinnati.
No,
they have no idea.
Dude, think about I'm literally speak of this stuff a lot. We've got guys that have won Indy.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody know that we've got some of the hottest race teams in the country around here?
No.
It's nuts.
You drive 20 miles east of Cincinnati, and you have basically a little mini Charlotte. You got the World of Outlaws, and you got the Lucas Oil late models haulers that parked right next to each other.
We've got the number one USAC asphalt teams
Yeah.
in Lebanon with the Dorans.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got the Hoffmans.
And the Hoffmans
in
right here in Milford. Yeah.
Like,
I've talked
think
to,
of the
I've talked to
people
Brady
that-
Bacon. It's like, if we could ever get hooked up, we're going to do an episode with Brady Bacon. You know, I had conversation this past weekend with Brian Burkhofer. You know, I've got some other stuff. You know, we're not just going to do local stuff. I mean, we're gonna start venturing in and start doing some phone calls of the people we can't travel to. Some other even bigger names that I don't want to say yet, but it's the conversations come up, and then I've been told, hey, I'll make this happen. It's like, okay, so we'll see. That's, you know, I just want another social media or another outlet. I want the fans to be able to get to meet the drivers. This isn't just the number 3 that goes around the racetrack. Oh, this is Brian Gray. Oh, okay. So I get to know him and get to meet him a little bit on camera. You know, even if you don't have time to sit and watch this, you could turn this on in your shop while you're working on your race car or whatever, or driving down the road, and you can listen to the conversation.
Yeah, that's great.
That's my whole idea of it. I hope it takes off. It might. I'm gonna try like hell.
Dude, it's all different. All live in different worlds, right?
Absolutely.
You know, like we are our little dirt track world,
Yep,
and then
yep.
you know there's people that do whatever soccer and football,
Soccer
and it's you know, so
every little niche has got something.
yeah, and we're a big business.
Yeah,
believe
we are
it or
a
not.
big business, and locally there isn't anybody else doing this, so it's like, man, cool.
Might as well.
I might as well try.
Might
it.
as well be you.
So I'm gonna swing for the fence on this one.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, dude, thanks for coming out.
Hey, appreciate you guys having us. So we'll get some more conversations, get them all recorded up. We appreciate everybody tuning in, Slingin Dirt Media. Hopefully the closing goes a little bit better than the opening, I guess. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Again, we're sitting down with Hollywood, Brian Gray. Slingin Dirt Media YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell all your friends to do the same. And we'll see you at the track.
LightningChassis.com.